Today's podcast is brought to you by Audible.com. Get a free audiobook download and 30-day free trial at www.audibletrial.com/goblin. Over 180,000 titles to choose from for your iPhone, Android, Kindle, or MP3 player. It's a moral gray area for some people. I'm not really plagued with that being a problem for me. If somebody is dumb enough to try to transfer gold that way when there's so many better ways to do it and safer ways, then that's their problem.
It's just business.
You're listening to the Goblin Goldcast with Dex and Mac. I got mouths to feed, so let's get this thing started. Time is money, friend.
Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, Azeroth. You're listening to the Goblin Goldcast, your guide to making gold in World of Warcraft. This is episode 11. I'm your host, Dex, coming to you from Napa, California. With me on Skype is the man who thinks he has way too much blood in his alcohol system, my co-host, Mac, from Anchorage, Alaska. How you doing, Mac?
On coffee tonight, man. But other than that, almost an accurate statement sometimes.
Yeah. Yeah, you're on coffee because you've been a little under the weather.
Yeah, still recovering from that bug I had last week. My wife actually dragged me to the doctor last Thursday, and she told me I needed to stay off until Monday, so I did that.
So you're listening to her. That's good.
Well, that's what's kept us married. But I always get the last word. It's yes, dear.
Right. This week, what we're going to be talking about, we've had a few requests for this. We're going to be talking about add-ons that will help you out in your gold-making ventures. But before we go into that, why don't we talk about this week? Anything interesting, Matt?
I was all ready to make lots of gold when the most recent portion of the expansion came out, when they opened up the raids. But unfortunately, I was working when everything went live, so I wasn't able to make a lot of gold right when it came on.
Right.
I've since remedied that. Last night, I started a second character, moving it towards 110. You'd asked a couple episodes back which character I was going to do that on, and I've done my weapon, my artifact weapon on every class I've got.
Right.
And I think my Pally is going to be the next one I bring up to 110. I seem to be able to survive a lot more stuff with him than I have with my other classes.
I hear good things about Rhett.
I'm having fun. I'm wading into things that my DK would have gone squish on and surprisingly coming out alive. But I just get in trouble when I get onto my clothies now. I try to play something like that and I get squished pretty quickly.
You're having trouble with your Frost DK?
Compared to my Paladin, yeah.
Really?
Oh yeah. I mean, I can wade into a few mobs, but I can almost triple the number of mobs with my Paladin. My
second tune that I brought through is Frost DK, and I felt like that he did really well with the content.
Oh, the content wasn't a problem. It's every once in a while I'll cut a corner and use the like a goblin glider and pop down in the middle of a bunch of mobs. And on him, there's a fine line between the perfect amount of mobs and, oh my god, I've got too many.
Right.
And I've done that a couple times with my Paladin, and it's like, oh, I'm toast. There's a repair bill coming up, and I survive. So I have noticed a difference. So. Yeah,
I mean, my hunter, my Beastmaster hunter, definitely has a lot more survivability than the DK. But I mean, that's a hunter. With hunters, you've got feign death, you got a pet you can send in, you've got a lot of things that you can do. But I guess with the Paladin, the healing is what makes the difference, probably.
Oh yeah, and maybe I just have the rotation down better with him as well.
Right.
Yeah. Last night I came in, was ready to go make a bunch of gold. I've been watching the threads on WoW Economy blow up all day. I got home last night. Did some world quest while gathering some herbs, because some of the herbs are going for huge amounts of gold right now compared to what they were.
Right.
And because you can make the flasks with them.
Right.
Flasks are selling well, so I went out and started doing that, and I got through. I was gathering foxflower in High Mountain,
mm-hmm.
and then I went over to Stormheim and we had high wind warnings here yesterday. We had the hurricane winds coming through the Turnagain Arm, and my internet connection kicked out. And I was like, dadgummit, it happens once in a while when we have high winds up here. I finally was able to log back in, and that's when I noticed the notice of they were having a DDoS attack. So I tried to deal with it for about half an hour, 45 minutes, and the lag was, I couldn't even gather herbs. So I actually pulled a cardinal sin, and I went and I reactivated an account on a different game, and went and played something else for a couple hours last night. So,
do I sense a temper tantrum?
I just wanted to play something.
Well, I this last week, as promised, I increased my Sky Golem production to 7 per month, and I had a whole bunch of them that had completed last week. I had 4, I think it was 4 that completed last week that I was able to make a Sky Golem, and I sold them all within like 2 hours. Just they were all gone at 46K, which on the server that I'm making them on, that's a good price. I know there are other servers like Dalaran and a few others that they go for more. But on the server that I'm selling them on Demon Soul, 46K is it's about what you can expect, and they went really quickly because people are using them for herbalism and Legion.
Right.
And in case anyone out there is not aware, the reason for that is because when you're picking herbs, it doesn't dismount you on these Sky Golems.
Kind of like in the old world, being able to do that with a druid in flight form.
Right. It's the same sort of thing. And just like with the druid, it doesn't work on ore. It only works on the herbs. So yeah, they. I guess they figure you don't have to climb out of the machinery to pick a flower. So.
Right. Kind of hard to handle a pick in bird form as a druid.
Yeah. Speaking of herbalism, I think I mentioned last show that I had a little bit of a dilemma. This expansion started out with mining and herbalism, and my intention was to drop herbalism for blacksmithing after the initial gathering gold rush. Changed my mind, and this week I ended up dropping mining for alchemy. So I went the other way.
You developed a green thumb.
Well, I needed to be able to utilize the blood of Sargeras that I was accumulating, and as a double gatherer, I didn't really have a way to make any gold with that. So I knew I had to drop one of them, and no comparison between what ore was doing and what herbs were doing with the impending launch of raids. And so on Monday and on Tuesday, I made a lot of gold with herbalism, just an unbelievable amount, just a ton. Sold a lot of Starlight Rose for quite a nice, tidy amount, and made a small fortune on that. And I have a new route for fox flowers. We were talking before the show, and it seems like you and I both found the same route. On the northern coast of High Mountain, there are 2 flight paths, and I'm not remembering the names of the flight paths right now, and I didn't write it in the show notes. Just along the coast there, where you got all your little murlocs there, you just get on your bug mount so you can run along the top of the water and farm that stuff back and forth, and use your server hop to change realms if you're not finding enough of it.
Right.
So yeah, did that. But I have to say the herb that's made me the most money in the last 2 days is the one that I can't pronounce.
Fiorenskagel or whatever it is.
That's easy for you to say. I just refer to it as the one that was named after Norwegian skin condition or something like that. Called Farfignugan or something.
There we go.
But Tuesday raids made the demand for this herb just insane for alchemists. So that was a good thing. Anything else you did besides making gold with herbs?
That was the herb I was trying to farm when the servers went to crud on me last night. So I was not a happy camper.
Well, you haven't completely missed the boat, because they are even though Yesterday was first rating day. I think a lot of guilds kind of waited until today because, of course, the script kiddies were out in mass with the DDoS to try to mess that up, and so I think a lot of put it off until today or tomorrow. Right. And there's still going to be some good demand for that for the next couple of days. And I was actually taking advantage of that. I put some things for sale right before we started the show, and before I could even log out, all of my stacks sold. So
there we go. Well, I know also that Hexweave that took a dip the other day. There was speculation they were going to bring the new bag in, and people were starting to dump Hexweave for cheap prices. I went back on today, and the price is back up big time.
That's because people realized that it wasn't going to be a good deal. You remember I talked about it. It was kind of breaking news right before we recorded last week. They actually had new stuff on the PTR just earlier today again, and they're tweaking the auction house in 7.1. They're making some changes, I think, to aid people in searching, so that if you're using for those people that don't use any kind of auctioneer, auctionator, or trade skill master or anything like that to do their auction. Anybody who doesn't do that, then they're plagued by these people that put up 200 stacks of something that they have to wade through. And this they're putting in some functionality for people without add-ons to do some of the things that those of us that have the add-ons take for granted. I think that's a good thing. They had talked in there was an interview with somebody, I forget who it was, this last week, I think, where one of the developers talked about how they'd like to implement that functionality, and it looks like they're moving ahead with it.
That's good. Like I said, when last Hexweave bag I sold, I was about 1,500 gold. Mm-hmm. And today when I came in, I think the cheapest one I saw in the auction house was $16.99. So they at least in Dalaran, they've gone up in price. So Hexweave still, I mean.
Well, and don't forget about Embersoak bags, because I for one kind of dropped it because you can only do so many things, and so I have to weigh what I'm going to make the most gold with. But anybody out there who doesn't have anything, they're looking for something, and they don't have the ability to do some of the other things that some of us are doing.
Maybe you're new and aren't in Legion yet.
Right, or maybe you get tailoring, you don't have herbalism on it too, and that you're bringing through, whatever. You're looking for something, you've got an enchanter and a tailor, which a lot of people do. A lot of people have those two professions on a character. And that's perfect for Hexweave bags. It's absolutely perfect. Or not Hexweave bags, for Embersoak bags. So check your realm, because we've noticed on the realms that we play on that there's been a nice increase with Embersoak, where it's followed right along with Hexweave, and in some cases, comparatively, it's outperformed Hexweave. My rule of thumb is Embersoak is doing well if it's going for more than a quarter of the price of Hexweave. So if Hexweave bags are $1,600 on your server, and Embersoak bags are more than $400, then that's pretty good.
Yeah, the low ones in Dalaran just before we started were at $485, just under 500 gold a bag.
See, now that's awesome, because you can farm Embersoak bags a lot quicker than you can put together Hexweave.
Oh yeah.
You don't have to have an army of tailors like I do. I don't have an army, but I mean, you don't have to have several tailors like I have. You can do it with one tailor.
Yeah, I go in there, Bastion of Twilight, 25-man heroic raid, and just blast through the front room, go out, restart, go back in, and I can do that over and over again. And bring along a potion of treasure finding if you want to park your tune out there. We've talked about that before, and that makes decent gold. I mean, you were the one who actually brought that to my attention.
Well, and here's the other thing. If you've got any kind of gear at all, you're going to blow through it really quickly, and so you're talking about maybe 2 minutes per run. Okay, and you only get to do 10 runs per hour. So before, it was limiting in a way, because you'd beat your instance limit, and then you'd it'd kind of throw you off for other things that you were wanting to do. But if you're right now leveling through Legion and you're in one of the 4 leveling zones, you've got a character doing that and you want to park a character out to do that farm, set your timer, and when your hour is up and you can go back in, you just camp the one in Legion that you're working on and go back to that. Do your 10 runs, another 20 minutes, say, and camp them out again and just rinse and repeat.
Just keep doing World Quest if you're on your 110 on the other server or on the other character.
Yeah, I mean anything like that. It's being able to jump back and forth between the characters and make the most of your time. That's definitely one way to do it.
The fact that the World Quest now, they had some pretty decent level items that drop. I mean, it's based. My understanding is it's based upon your item level. The stuff
right.
Drop. I saw some 845 gear last night. I'm not quite able to get in Raid Finder. I'm a couple points shy of being able to get into Raid Finder, so I'm working on it.
Right, but you don't even need gear that good for Bastion and Twilight. I mean, if you've got a 700 item level, you are going to destroy it.
Yeah, I can run through that with a level 90.
Right. A couple other things. My mount count is up to 207. I was 205 last week, and as I mentioned, I had my little dinosaur egg, and it hatched.
There we go.
And so I got that, and I got that Argent tournament mount that was bugged out on me that I had to go and buy again. There are a couple of Legion mounts that I have my eye on, and there are going to be a couple more in 7.1 that I'll go after. But yeah, I'm starting to knock those out, and that's always fun. I have been having a lot of fun with my Vengeance Demon Hunter. He's got skinning and leather working, and unfortunately, I'm not leveling him as fast as I would be if I weren't finding all these nice areas to skin mobs in. So rather than running down quests, I find myself running around and skinning like a madman. But that's fun. But I've been having a lot of fun with him. I haven't found a number of mobs that I can pull that would be a problem yet.
Right.
15 to 20 is not a problem.
Right.
The problem is finding enough close together because with that guy, the rotation, I can just destroy them on full health at the end. He's a lot of fun. I mean, I'm DPS for life, but I'm thinking about running a few dungeons with him and doing the tank thing, which I know is crazy hearing that from me. Anybody knows me, I'm big time DPS, but I think I'd like to try it with him. Anything else this week you'd like to cover?
No. Like I said, my thing is just battling this illness. It's like I get home, and if my playtime is, even though it's normally limited, it's been really limited with this bug. And then we had 4 of the 7 grandkids over that spent the night last night, so we had a fun night last night.
Well, I made a list in our show notes of some of my favorite gold making add-ons that I use. I do use a lot more add-ons than what I listed, but I tried to limit the list to ones that have a direct correlation with your gold making. Some of them are kind of a stretch for gold making, but I still feel that they help a little bit. And the first one on the list is Trade Skill Master. And I want to get this one out of the way because this one, this is a rough one to talk about because I could literally make an entire show out of this add-on. I don't know how interesting the show would be, but there's definitely enough to talk about this one.
That is my nemesis.
It is also very complicated for a lot of people. I admit that I had some difficulty with it in the beginning until I found some really good guides. And so before I get into that too much, I do want to mention that by the time you hear this, post it on our website and probably on our Facebook as well.
Facebook page, yeah.
Yeah. We're going to have a slew of links to instructions for setting it up and different scripts you can use and so forth to make the most of it. Really what we want to do in this show is kind of talk a little bit about what we're doing with these add-ons and why they're valuable. So getting into that, Trade Skill Master is one of those add-ons that has little modules within it. It's not when you get the add-on that's not the end of it. There are other pieces that you need to add to it. You want to think of Tradesco Master as the engine, and then all the modules are the little accessories that you want to add to it. Some of the modules that are on this there's an accounting one. There's, of course, the auction house database, crafting, shopping, vendoring, mailing, etc. And just talk about those different modules a little bit here. The auction house one is the one that most people are familiar with and they're most concerned with, and arguably the most important. It's got a feature on it called Sniper, which allows you to see when people are putting something up. Basically, I mean, let's be honest about it. It's catching people making mistakes.
Yep, I've run into that before.
Somebody is going to put that stack of foxflower, a stack of 200, for the price of one. And someone is going to buy that. And Sniper allows you to be that person. You only have a few seconds. So if you make a mistake and you post something, a stack of something for a single item, for a single unit price, and you make that mistake, and you don't catch that mistake within 5 to 10 seconds, it'll be too late. And if you ever wonder, how could somebody find this so quickly? It's because what Sniper does is it searches the last page of the auction house. It's only searching the most recent things that have been posted, and it's looking for things that are severely underpriced. And you can control this. This is one of those things that you have to have input on. So you can control it, and you can decide, okay, what do I want to set up as the discounted margin on this? Do I want to see things that are posted for 20% under market? No, probably not, because your screen's going to be filled with things that are not really going to be that great a deal. But maybe you want to see things that are posted for 10% of their value or 20% of their value. And then you're going to see things that are mistakes and just people that don't know, or people that are trying to transfer gold from one faction to the other. And the latter is a lot of times the case. And so you find those, and it's a moral gray area for some people. I'm not really plagued with that being a problem for me. If somebody is dumb enough to try to transfer gold that way when there's so many better ways to do it and safer ways, then that's their problem.
It's just business.
Exactly. It's not personal, it's business. But now there are some people that will say, somebody makes an error, an honest error, and they send me a nice email saying, hey, I screwed up, can you sell me back my item? Some people will go ahead and sell it back to them. Usually you won't get that kind of a tell. Usually the message that you will get sent to you is cussing you out and calling you a scumbag, and makes it easy for you to say, too bad, so sad, see you next time. So,
if you want it that bad, you can send Guido over to my house.
I'm trying not to spend too much time on Tradesco Master. I'm looking at the timer, and it's just so easy to go on about this, so I'm going to try to be a little shorter with it so we can deal with some of the other things. The shopping module. If you have certain things, let's say you're making sky golems, but you're not farming any of the materials. You need to buy all the materials so you can make it. You can set up a shopping list, and it'll search the auction house for you. It'll find your stuff that you want, or you have things that you regularly buy. It can really automate that process and save you time. And if there's one thing we've established on this show, it's that time is money. One of the ones that I like is the vendoring one, because the vendoring part of it, because if I'm making those Dranic Philosopher's Stones and I've got a full inventory of those that I need to sell, my hand's going to really be hurting after I get done click selling each one of those one at a time. Instead, I can sell a whole bunch of them at once, with the click of a button. I had carpal tunnel surgery on both of my hands not too long ago, and if you haven't had problems with carpal tunnel, you don't want it. And I know that Mac's wife recently dealt with the same thing. And if you can avoid that, if you can have something that reduces your number of clicks, and a lot of these add-ons will do just that for you. you want to take advantage of it. Another thing is the mailing option. If you've got a lot of things that you mail to different alts or different people on a regular basis, you can set up you can set up operations for that, and that's something that it does. You can set up different operations to do different things that are repetitive things that you do a lot, and that, I mean, in a nutshell, besides the auction house, of course, it helping you to manage all of that and deal with the auction house. Like I said, there are other things that it does. The crafting, if you're crafting certain items over and over again, you can save operation sets of that. So it's a huge add-on. It does so much, and like I said, we'll have links on the website and on the Facebook site to steer you the right direction to get it set up. Well worth the trouble.
I will learn how to use that eventually.
Okay, so moving on. The next couple that I want to talk about are some new ones that have not been around very long, that are just around for Legion. The first one is World Quest Tracker, which I just this week tried out, and I love it. What it does, anybody who's done the World Quest after you hit 110, and you're clicking around on the map to see what's where and all of that, this organizes all of that on your map, and it helps you to determine very quickly where you want to go and what you want to do. It will even give you totals of, okay, if I did all of the world quests that award gold, how much gold would that be? If I did all of them that awarded artifact power, how much would that give me? Or resources, how much would I get from that? So it details all of that out for you, and it's all on one screen, and I like it.
Oh, does that pop up on the map screen, or?
Yeah, it's on the map screen, but it's a button on there, so you don't have to display it. It doesn't display all the time. It's if you hit the button, it'll display.
Okay.
And the next one, which I love even more than World Quest Tracker, is Easy Obliterate, and it is just what it sounds like. Anybody who has made stacks and stacks of ancient healing potions and then has to obliterate them will appreciate this just for that. It's not going to break up stacks. It's still going to obliterate one item at a time, but you're not dragging each item over and obliterating it. You're reducing your clicks by a huge margin. And it can be automated. You're going to have to break a couple of rules to do that, and I am not going to detail how that's done or recommend it. I'm just going to say that it's possible. So you can save your wrist with this add-on. If there are things that aren't in stacks, it's even better. If you've made a whole bunch of leatherworking items and you need to obliterate all of them, you can just click your way to obliterating it. One click per obliterate all the way through. So no more drag, drop, obliterate. So those are the two new ones. The next one, by the way, Matt, go ahead and speak up if you've ever heard of any of these add-ons as I go through. Sorry.
I'm add-on light.
You are. The next one I want to talk about is Server Hop, and most people are familiar with this one. I know a lot of people don't use it, but even if they don't use it, they're familiar. And if you're running around collecting herbs or mining for ore and so forth, and you have a small area, for instance, it's really concentrated with herbs or ore, what you can do, rather than expand your area that you're going to, you can just server hop from realm to realm to realm, and there are going to be new nodes there as you pop through. So it allows you to be a lot more efficient about going after your herb nodes or your mining nodes or what have you.
That's actually an add-on I don't have that I was planning on putting on. So.
Well, it's good for more than what I just mentioned. It's also if you're farming rares and so forth. There are a lot of good things to use it for, and I love it. It's gone through some changes in how it works over the last couple of months because of changes Blizzard has made For instance, you do not hop to a new realm unless someone that is in the group with you, because we put you in groups for people that don't know that, and you will not hop to the other realm unless somebody from the realm is in the same zone that you're in. But the good news is if you're using that with Legion, the odds are somebody's going to be in the zone with you. And if they're not, you just go to the next one. It's just a matter of clicking again to go somewhere else. So yeah, it's very useful when an expansion is new, because you're gonna get success with it most of the time. The next one is the Undermine Journal, and I think we've got one now that Mac actually uses.
I do use that one.
And do you like it?
Oh yeah. It's much for me. It's a lot more user friendly than the Trade Skill Master. I know you use them in conjunction, but
yeah, I actually have. There's a relative of mine that plays the game, and I turned him on to Undermine Journal, the website, to go there and enter in things he's looking for to see what they're going for and so forth. And I was having a conversation with him, and I mentioned something about the add-on and about how I was using it. And he said, add-on, what do you mean add-on? Because he's been windowing down and going to the website whenever he needed to do it. I said, oh yeah, there's an add-on to where you can just have it, have it right there within WoW and be able to see everything. And I think it was the reaction was kind of a cross between being very happy about that and wondering why the hell I hadn't said that before. But it's one of those things, what are you going to do?
I think you did it on purpose, but
I will not admit to that. Oh, and Undermine Journal, what it does, in case somebody doesn't know what Undermine Journal is, it is a collection of data and that's collected on all the different realms, so that you can see from your realm what the average price something sells for is, and you can see what they've most recently sold for, historical information on that. It'll also look at the region, and so you can kind of compare, and you can see is the price on my realm higher or lower than what the average is on different realms. Very useful for moving battle pets around. That's something that's really handy for.
It's also good if you're like when we went over and checked out old characters and we're going to get rid of some old junk from the bank. Sometimes you find things when you mouse over it, it's like, oh my gosh, why is that one so expensive? And
Right. Having all of that information is very, very valuable.
We've known a few people that have vendored things that they found out were worth a lot later.
Had no idea until later.
Way too late.
All right, so the next one, another one that Mac is familiar with, is Titan Panel. What Titan Panel is, puts a nice little, small little strip of information across the top of your screen. And it has, much like Trade Skill Master, it has modules as well that do all kinds of things. Tons and tons of modules for it. I do not use all the modules. I use but a small fraction of the modules that come available for it.
I use about 10 of the modules for it.
Yeah, I don't even know if I use 10. I think I use about 7 or 8. Some of the modules that I take advantage of on that are your gold, how much gold you're making, your experience. You can see, like, what I like to be able to see is all my rested experience. I like to see what percentage of level that I am, but I also want to be able to see exactly how many experience points I need to the next level, and it shows that, and it's not obtrusive. This is and Matt can vouch for this add-on in this regard. It's not cluttering up your whole screen.
No, I love it. I like the fact that I can look at it. I can get total gold I have on all my characters on the server. Repair it. I mean, if I'm taking damage, rather than waiting until I get a yellow or a red mark on my little paper doll on the screen, I can actually look and see exactly what my percentage is on for repair.
Oh, absolutely. And like you were mentioning on gold, it'll show you how much gold you have, and it'll be the gold for that realm on that account, is what it'll display.
On that BattleNet account, yeah.
Right. So if you've got 12 characters on the realm, say, it'll show the total. You can actually control how it displays it. I have it so it shows the total for all characters. And then if you hover over it, it will break that down and it will show you which characters have how much gold.
Right.
And that's awesome. So I really enjoy Titan Panel, and it helps me to know where I'm at with all the different characters and what I have, and very useful.
I liked it. During the Legion invasions, I could make a decision of whether I could go to another invasion before repairing.
Right. The next one is TomTom. TomTom's a real simple add-on. It gives you a little crazy arrow, so you can enter in a waypoint /WAY and then two-digit numbers separated. So /way space 50 space 49 will take you to that coordinate on the map. Say,
I love TomTom.
It'll point you the right way, and very, very useful. If you find if you look on, say, Wowhead, and you're looking for an NPC and you see the coordinates where he's on the map, it'll show you where he's located. All you have to do is enter those coordinates in, and you can go right to it. Beyond that, if you're not even in the zone where he's at, you can enter in, a lot of people don't know this, you can enter in the name of the zone followed by the coordinates, and even from a different zone, it will direct you and tell you how far away you are in the zone that you're in.
For those people that are directionally challenged, it's awesome.
It is nice. Now, what it'll do is it'll direct you as the crow flies. So if there's a great big mountain range in the way,
like High
Mountain, yeah, it might get a little challenging, but at least you're going to know where you're going, and it'll put a little green dot also on the map when you open up the map, so you can visually see where you're headed to. And you can enter in several coordinates, and some people do this to set a path. If there's a certain path they want to take when they're mining or herbing or whatever, you can lay out the coordinates in a string, and it will take you from A to B to C all the way around in a big circle if you want to do that. So there are a lot of ways that you can utilize that. It's really helpful. The next two, I want to kind of mention them together because they're the same sort of thing. They are there to help you with inventory. Bagnon, Bagnon, puts all of your bags into one big bag. So whatever bags you have in your inventory, when you open them up, it's going to display it as one giant bag. And I really like that. I don't like all the multiple bags opening up, and it makes it look better. It just creates a nicer look to it. It also, these add-ons that I'm mentioning here will also make your guild bank and your personal bank, including your reagents bank, look much better. And so the other one is called Bag Brother. Now, Bag Brother is something that is tailor-made for somebody like Mac, because with Bag Brother, it's going to give you information about your inventory of your alts. So if you hover your mouse above an item, it will tell you which one of your characters has more of that item and where it is. Is it in their bank? Is it in their inventory? Where is it? Where do they have it? And you can go right to it.
I may have to look into that one.
I knew you would like that one. So when I, for instance, for a while there, I had a lot of motes of harmony, but they were spread among a lot of my characters, and I wanted to gather them all together and deal with them. And so all I would do is hover my mouse over my mode of harmony in my bag, and it would say, oh, okay, hey, well, this other character's got 10 of those in his bank, and this character over here has 5 in their inventory, and it's on a big drop down all in one window. It shows me where they all are. Very, very useful. Highly recommend it.
Yeah, I'm still add-on light, but that may be another one I may grab.
I figure that you're going to be a little more heavy on add-ons after we get done with today's show.
You're going to drag me there kicking and screaming, I know it.
The first one's free. So the next one is one called Battle Pet ID. And a lot of people are going to wonder, what in the world, what does that have to do with making gold? This is going to actually surprise a lot of people that aren't into pet battling. I was into pet battling for a while, so not only did I sell them, but I actually enjoyed doing the little pet battle, little Pokemon fights with them. By the way, my oldest son asked me the other day, "Do you say Pokemon just to irritate me?" And I said, "Yes, I do." He says, "You know that's not how it's pronounced." And I said, "That's right. I know that's not how it's pronounced, but I'm still going to." Anyway, Battle Pet ID will tell you the breed of the pet that you have. Besides the type of pet that it is and the family that it belongs to and all of that, there's also something called the breed, which is invisible unless you have something like this to show it. And it will say SS or PP or BB or PS. It'll have a designator code on it. And what this designator code tells you, it tells you how its stats are distributed. So an SS is one that's very fast. It's S for speed. P is for power. So the one that's PP is very, very powerful. It's very strong, right? And one that has a P and an S is stronger than average and more powerful than average, but not as fast as one that has the two S's or the two P's. Anyway, long story short, depending on the breed, they sell for different amounts of gold. So if you don't have that add-on and you're looking at buying and selling battle pets, some battle pets only have one breed. Like, for instance, trading card game ones, I think most of those are just one breed. Some of the more rare ones are only one breed. But there are other ones that have distinctly different breeds. If you're looking at Gilnean ravens, the one that is the SS is worth a lot. The one that's the BB is vendor sold. But the SS you can't get anymore unless you get it from somebody who got it before it was removed from the game. So there's a difference in rarity, and so not to get too far down the rabbit hole with that one, no pun intended. You're going to have differences in what you can demand for these pets, and you should really know what you have. The next one is very simple. It's Fog Light, and if you like Fog of War, if you like going into a zone that you've never been in before and you don't want to know what's around the corner and how to get around and where the roads are or anything like that, or the flight paths, don't get this add-on. If you dislike stumbling around in the dark and you want to have the advantage of knowing where you're going before you've been there before, then get it. Quite simply. It opens it up. It's the difference between walking into a room when it's pitch black or turning the light switch on before you go in. Another one that you don't have that you want, right?
That one I got just before the show. The reason I like for exploring areas, I know that if I got the Fog of War up, I know I haven't explored that one area, so I can get my Explorer achievements.
Right. So.
Yeah, no, we talked about that one. That is one I get. I know you used to get frustrated when would come into the zone brand new, and it's like, okay, how do I get there?
Right. The next one is called Pass Loot, and Pass Loot is something that I don't use a ton of, but I do have occasions when I do want to use it. When I'm bringing alts through dungeons and I'm running them over and over again, and I'm doing the recruiter friend thing. Pass Loot, what that allows you to do is it lets you set up in advance how you want loot to work. So you can make it so that if you are running multiple accounts together and you want to loot everything on one character, or you want one character to always need or always greed or what have you, you can set that up, set it and forget it, and you're done. Simple as that. So if I'm dragging, sometimes I had 5 different accounts going through a full group, and the leader of the group that I was dragging everybody through was doing all of the looting, it was disenchanting things and so forth. I just wanted to get everything on that character. And so I would have all of the other 4 characters automatically decline all loot. And so I would get everything on that character. So that was what I used Pass Loot for. Next one, everyone's going to see the value of this one, Gather Mate. Anybody who likes to gather herbs or mine ore, now you use that one, don't you?
No, I don't.
So how do you, when you're going around gathering herbs, you can't see where you gathered it?
No, I memorize a route and.
Wow. I don't know how you make any gold then gathering without this, because what this does, this will change your life.
Okay, so put a big asterisk by this one in the show notes, right?
Yeah, you need to do this one because I was sure that you were already doing it.
No.
Anybody listening to this that knows about GatherMate is shaking their head, Yeah. Okay, so GatherMate, what this does is as you're running around and you're looting your ore or your herbs or so forth, it's leaving little icons behind showing everywhere that you've looted one before. And it keeps that in a database. You can actually download databases from other people too. So think of it like a heat map. So it'll show you where the nodes are. So believe it or not, these things can't spawn anywhere in the zone. There are specific places that they can spawn and places that they can't spawn that are programmed into the game. And eventually you get all the spawn points and you can look at the map and you can say, oh, well, I know where I need to go because I see where most of them are. And I'm going to run it around in a little circle right where they are. And you will save so much time, and as a result, you will make so much more gold. Okay. The next one I have mixed feelings about. NPC Scan is an add-on that a lot of people use to find named. So whenever a named is within your mini-map range, it will set off a little alarm, and you'll get a little indicator that'll pop up telling you that the NPC is up and alive. That's great and everything, but I have to say, if you're going through an area where there are a lot of these NPCs that are going to set it off, it's annoying as hell when you're not looking for them. Or they're not, basically these rares that are popping up are not all worth dropping everything and going after. So I have to admit that in Legion I have turned this off, at least for now. But
I don't use it, so.
Yeah, I'm not currently using it either. I have it. And I will definitely use it if I go into like the old world though, and I'm looking for a rare mob. Yeah. Hey, if I'm going after the timeless proto drake,
there you go.
You know, I want to know when that thing pops up, so I'm definitely gonna reactivate it for that. The next one on the list is Gnome Sequencer, and this one is going to be important to some people and not important at all to others. For me, it's absolutely one of the most important add-ons that I have. It's going to be in my top 5. And Gnome Sequencer, what it does, you have limitations for what you can do with the macro system in WoW. And what Gnome Sequencer lets you do is it lets you bypass some of those limitations. Perfectly legal, nothing wrong with it. I want to say that right off the bat. But it allows you to use scripts. And so you can, if you're running as many alts as I run, you don't want to worry about rotations when you're farming something that's just mindless. So if you're on your hunter and you go, okay, I know what my rotation is when I go and I fight this, I hit this hotkey and then this one and then this one. I set up what's called lazy macros on all my farming tunes. Now, I don't do this on all of my tunes because it really takes the fun out of playing and it takes the efficiency out. You will not be the most efficient at doing anything with this, but it will save you a lot of time and a lot of trouble, which is what farming gold is all about. You go to a website called lazymacros.com. And there's a whole community of people that will make what's called one-button macros. And so you can make this long macro that will cycle through all of your abilities, not in the most efficient way, but you're going to be more efficient than most people. But if you're good at your class and you don't use it, you're going to be able to be more efficient because there are some things that you can't control when you're just mashing one button. But you can run in and just choose a button, your number 1 or your number 2 or whatever, and just mash that button over and over again until everything's dead. And it just makes it easy. It's the easy button macro.
There we go.
That's so. Yeah, GNOME sequencer, great for that sort of thing. The next one is an add-on called Master Plan. Master Plan was more important last expansion than it is now. As I understand it, they've tried to implement some usefulness for the class hall, but mainly what Master Plan is, if you still have garrisons that you're running and you're doing garrison chores, it makes your running your missions and selecting your missions a lot quicker. It will look at what you've got and it will tell you what the best combination is, and it'll give you a one button to hit to send them out on the missions, and reduces the amount of time. And so if you're running 24 garrisons, and you can do all your garrison chores in a third of the time that you normally would because of this add-on, that's going to be worth a lot to you.
That's one I do have.
Yeah, Master Plan, definitely worth having. The next one, I think you just set that one up, is Handy Notes.
I'll let you know how this works next week's show.
Yeah, Handy Notes, for anybody that's not aware of what it is, Handy Notes will tell you where things are on the map, with treasures and so forth. And so when I started Legion, day one, I had Handy Notes with the Legion module already installed. And what that meant was, whenever I would go into a zone, I would see where all of those artifact resources were, all those treasure chests that had gear and so forth in them. I could go right to them because they would show up as little icons on my map. So when I was running around doing quests, I could say, oh, hey, around the corner there's a treasure chest. Let me run over and grab that. I used this add-on to level tunes in Warlords of Draenor. I would hop on my little two-seater rocket mount, and I would bring another character with me, whether it be one of my alts or a friend's alt, what have you, and run around and picking up treasures. And I was able to make a beeline right for where they were, not because I remembered where they were, but because they were marked on my map. And the nice thing about it, that I should point out also, is after you loot the item, it doesn't show up on your map anymore. It updates. And so and you don't go back to the same one. Oh, yeah, I looted that one already. No, it's gone. It's not on your map anymore. Right? Yes, it is. Character specific. So a character that you've never been to any of those treasures, like my main, doesn't have any of the Draenor treasures showing up anymore because he's looted them all. So yeah, very, very useful add-on, and you will have to let us all know how you like it after using it for about a week.
Yeah, I'll let you know about that one and GatherMate. I may download that after the show.
I would get GatherMate, because right now GatherMate is going to make you a ton of gold because of what's going on right now in Legion.
Right. I just found routes that I know work, and those are the ones I use. So
time is money, and it will save you time. But anyway, so if you're out there and we didn't mention an add-on that you feel is very useful in making gold, it's we could have missed some that are very valuable, as a matter of fact, and maybe some that we don't know about. Drop us a line, let us know. Anything you find profitable, or if you want to correct us on something that we talked about, one of the add-ons, a feature, something that we got wrong. We're not perfect, especially Mac.
Yeah.
And let us know.
Yeah, you like pointing that out. I know that.
I'm not the only one. Your wife joins in.
There
sometime.
we go.
Well, I think that's going to about wrap up this week's show. Why don't we tell everybody how they can get in contact with us?
Yeah, you can get a hold of us at MAC at goblingoldcast.com. You can get a hold of us on Twitter at Goblin Goldcast. You can also find us on Facebook. And this week on Facebook, we'll also have some links to the Trade Skill Master add-on, so you know how to use that a little better. And so we'll have some of those links set up. It's not our stuff. This is some stuff that people have already set up that use or know that add-on a lot better than we do.
Absolutely. And don't forget, you can leave us a voicemail on our website, goblingoldcast.com. And please subscribe to us on iTunes or Stitcher if you listen to us there.
And we'll see you next week.
Now go make some gold.
more money and beachfront property.